Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this is Andrew Snorton with Creative Community Solutions. And as you know, on the press and media end, we get a chance to talk with some great people doing some great work, whether it's in business, community, arts and entertainment, government and politics, sports, and more. So make sure to check out today's article, interview, chat. Make sure to visit us on the web at acenortonccs.com/blog. Or if you just go to acenortonccs.com, click on the menu for articles and coverage, and you'll be able to catch this. Make sure to connect with us at Creative Community Solutions LLC on Facebook and YouTube, and Ace Norton CCS on Instagram and Twitter. And I tell you what, when you get a chance to talk with a creative mind through the lens of business, community engagement, and of course, we have a couple other things in common, it is always a wonderful thing. So I'm so excited to introduce Mike Lloyd of Dope Coffee. Mike, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing well, man. Look, I got my coffee here. I'm having a really good morning, right? So we're in our new headquarters, and I just immersed in an environment that's positive and uplifting for me, man. So I want to be able to share my experience and hopefully inspire others, right, to follow and do and create as they see fit in the world.
Awesome. Well, before we talk about the great moving parts you have with Dope Coffee, give us a little point of reference about where you're based out of and what were some of your other moving parts before you really pivoted into creating the Dope Coffee brand and business.
Yeah, so I'm here in actually the city of Stonecrest, which is DeKalb County, Georgia. We live in Decatur, Georgia, Metro Atlanta. Quick story for coffee and my journey in coffee. I was active duty in the Marine Corps for about 7 years. My last leg of the Marine Corps found me in Eastern North Carolina, and I actually started a company, had 2 locations, 2 cafes called Solar Cafe. 2018, Hurricane Florence hit the East Coast and, kind of wiped the area out. We had to pack up and move down here to Decatur, and that's the beginning of Dope Coffee, right? Like I was able to reconnect with who I was as an artist and as a creator. So many of the things that I'm currently doing with Dope Coffee, I was already doing those things as Solar Cafe on the coffee side of the house, but it was the culture part that was missing, right? Solar Cafe was very kind of like culturally agnostic. It was like a Starbucks clone. It wasn't what I wanted to represent in terms of being a member of the coffee industry. So yeah, Decatur and Metro Atlanta, being here, immersed back in my roots in the Black community is really where Dope Coffee began.
Awesome. And I love what you talked about. It's part connection and reconnection. You always had it in you, but then it was also taking something that was adverse with what happened in 2018. And it's almost like the Phoenix adage, like rising anew from your ashes and really kind of using that as that spark to go ahead and tap into more of your creative tendencies and your business tendencies. Walk through your evolution with Dope Coffee. So here you are, you're rebirthed, you're renewed. What happens next?
Yeah, man. So Dope Coffee, as I like to talk about around here, is actually a spiritual journey for us, right? So like many things, right, you use the reference of a phoenix. It was kind of tragedy for us that led us to our highest form of creativity, right? So once I had kind of lost all of my material possessions, what did I go back to? I went back to the things that I truly love and enjoy, that I would do regardless of if it was, financially profitable or not, right? So created Dope Coffee. Interesting story. Dope Coffee was actually a form of currency in a comic series that I was writing. And it wasn't going to be like a real thing. And I needed to find a way to just bring more of my creativity into real life. So started Dope Coffee as a startup in 2019. And it was tough, right? Because 2019, another quick story, I break my leg February 10th of 2019. This is literally right before my son's 10th birthday. Or excuse me, I found Dope Coffee at the end of 2019. February 10th, 2020, I break my leg. I have to have surgery. I'm in the hospital for a few days, and it was a pretty nasty break. Won't get into those gory details. It was a struggle, right? Like break my leg, pandemic hits, I got no money left in the bank, and it's like, what do I do? So I had to really tap into the nuts and bolts of the business. And as a creative, that can be something that's difficult for us to do sometimes, which is to, in moments of pure creativity, to find discipline, especially financial discipline. So I learned how to raise capital. Regulation crowdfunding was something that was new. I launched a crowdfunding campaign, was able to raise a little bit over $100,000 in startup capital, which was awesome. Leaned heavily on the community. Got some free co-working space to base Dope Coffee out of, actually over in Midtown, right off the campus of Georgia Tech. And from there, man, we went to work on like the foundation of what you see today. As a creative coffee company, right? Like it was heavy on bag design. So we'd been doing like bags with labels on them. We went to full custom bags, right? I hired a team of artists and creatives around me to focus on really infusing hip hop directly into the coffee, from the packaging to the roasting and just everything that we do. And from there, launched a website, right, direct to consumer that became pretty successful enough to sustain itself. And, from there, we've just kind of continued in that vein of demonstrate competency, take that competency to new investors, get their financial backing, pour all of that back into the business. And so it's really it's kind of been a story of a phoenix, right? A lot of birth and rebirth constantly. Not every great idea that you have for the moment stays a great idea. I like, one of my advisors talks to me about lily pads, right? Like you're on a lily pad, and if you stay on that lily pad, it's a good temporary pause. You stay on it too long, the lily pad might sink, right? And so you need to keep hopping from lily pad to lily pad. And that's what Dope Coffee's been. So started in co-working spaces, started off raising crowdfunding, raising capital through crowdfunding. And that's led us to be able to secure our own 6,000 square foot facility here, right? It's a roastery, it's a cafe, it's a manufacturing center, it's a live events venue, all in one house. And so what I like to say now is that I'm not doing anything new or different today in Dope Coffee. I'm actually just manifesting the original idea, bringing it into real life. And that's really awesome. Sometimes I actually never take it for granted, but sometimes I have to keep telling myself, Mike, you have everything that you were looking for. It's here right in front of you. Dig in deeper, get to work, like actually use what you created. Don't look for the next lily pad. Like, I'm on solid ground right now, right? Stay on solid ground and build vertically now. So yeah, man, that's what we've done. Look, have been very fortunate to expand our manufacturing capability. So that's one of the things that I want to hit hard on, is that I believe in manufacturing. I believe in manufacturing coming back into the Black community. A lot of our products and materials, resources that we use, all of our dollars have to leave our community in order for us to procure goods, right? So we roast coffee in-house, right? We produce K-cups, so Keurig compatible coffee pots in-house. We produce ready to drink coffees and teas in-house. We produce like everything that we have that's in Dope Coffee, we manufacture it all in-house. So we can make the best profit margin, so we can reinvest the most back into the business, right? And that's the key. We're trying to not only be a creative company for ourselves, but to be a model for our community that says like, hey, like things that we maybe were doing post reconstruction that really, like, America and our community, we've gone heavily into like, hey, let's go to tech, let's go to all these super high growth concepts that I don't want to call them long shots, but they're risky in terms of like high risk, high reward, yes, but there's a certain point you're chasing unsustainable growth, and we need real growth, demonstrated growth that has traction that I can actually come to depend on next year. That's what we're doing, right? Infusing that creative side with the manufacturing side. So like kind of a very undisciplined side of us and a very disciplined side of us, when you put that together, I think gives us very strong economic potential, if you would.
But you know what? And I know you said, you just talked about the discipline piece, but to me, it just sounds like it's the intersection of best business practices, evolving business practices, but also the creative. And when you talk about, the immersion in regards to how you're immersing elements of the arts and creative and what you're doing, coffee and all these types of things, I'm going to give you a little bit of grace. It's more of that intersection of the best of the corporate and creative, which is where, to your point, you'll have the moments where you'll sit still and stick with a sustainable model, but you know that in venturing out constructively and creatively, it's allowing you to continue to find innovative spaces, which keeps that energy going. So it's almost like that Phoenix adage is constant, like everything isn't crashing and burning. It's always like, to me, it sounds like it's constant. You can walk and chew gum at the same time. You can walk and chew gum at the same time. It's like we can still stick to who we are, but we can find these creative challenges to expand, evolve, and address growing needs. That's how I'm hearing it. Now, correct me if I'm wrong on that one.
No, you're hitting the nail right on the head. So take a look at it from this perspective, right? And I like to use Travis Scott as a model. So Travis Scott, the creative, paired with McDonald's, right, in the Cactus Jack burgers. Like McDonald's is a large corporate entity that almost has no room for innovation. They can't innovate on their product. They can't innovate on their brick and mortar. There's really no demand for like a online McDonald's, right? So what do? They have to go find a creative who can infuse that type of a mindset and that type of a value add into their structure. At Dope Coffee, and I really liked how you put it, right? And you said you're going to give us some grace, because I have to often give us grace myself. Like, so what am I doing right after this interview? I'm headed to the back because I'm painting the backdrop of our live events venue, right? And so it used to scare me early on to talk to investors and tell them like, yeah, guys, big part of how I plan on running this company is by having the CEO on stage doing live hip hop shows. Like that can scare a lot of people off, because what do they see? They may see the lack of discipline. But if you come into Dope Coffee and if you walk into the front door, you have to walk through the retail section prior to getting to the live events venue. And if you leave the live events venue, you have to walk back through the retail section. So what am I describing? Like World of Coca-Cola, like every theme park in America. Like, sure, bro, we're gonna let you enjoy yourselves, but like before you leave here, you're gonna have to walk through retail and spend some money here. On the way in the door, right, you need concessions to drink and eat. And then on the way out, since you enjoyed the experience so much and since it was so culturally engaging for you, like you're like, oh, I really am committed to what these guys are doing. And so I have to give us grace and understand that it's okay. So corporate America, and I was an active duty Marine, right? And so that's like the ultimate pinnacle of discipline, like no variance and no tolerance for variance, and for very good reasons. It can be very life or death. But what I have to realize that for us, if I want to find innovative space to operate in, we're going to have to push the edges. And sometimes that means going away from what's tried and true. Corporate America wants you to stick to the model. I am here not necessarily to throw the models away, but it's like you said, walk and chew bubble gum. I'm not actually trying to duplicate or replicate what I see in a Starbucks. I believe we can build something greater. We often pride ourselves in our community that, you know, we lead the culture, that we're the innovators. And it's like, yeah, that's cool, but we're not the manufacturers and we're not the ones that bring economies of scale to these cool and innovative ideas. So we're going to have to figure out how to do both at the same time. That's the model I'm working on at Dope Coffee. There are other folks working on very similar models. But yeah, I kind of think of it, you know, it's like a daily Phoenix act here, right? Burn it down, rebuild it. And if you would, it's you know, as a manufacturer, I like to think of recycling the pieces that we have on a daily basis, like reconfiguring it and turning it into a new product. And it works. I think it works really well. Obviously, I'm all in on it, right? Like I'm investing in this. It's not just a coffee brand. It's not just a coffee shop. We're not just coffee menu. All that stuff exists already, right? It's the intersections of all of these little webs coming together for a singular point that says we're redefining the industry. And it's okay to redefine things. It's okay to say, I'm not doing what you guys are doing. And I have to constantly tell people this. They go, like, some folks want to go, oh, you're a hip hop company. And some folks want to go, oh, you're a coffee company. Well, if you see my hoodie, it says coffee, culture, and hip hop. And I have to use 3 words because the words don't exist yet that allows complex ideas to be singularly spoken about right now. And that's okay. I imagine 5 years from now, when Dope Coffee is just a little further down the road, we will come up with the vernacular that lets us express the complex intersections that exist in ways that maybe everyone can grasp. But we don't need to convince everyone right now. So we say coffee culture, hip hop, right?
But I tell you what, just like, and this is the artist and creative, we think about what are some of the most powerful statements. Sometimes the most powerful statements are very straightforward. I am, we are. So to a degree, even though you said 5 years down the road, what you're doing now is already 5 years down the road.
Absolutely.
So already doing it, and you're already, again, the whole walking and chewing gum at the same time. You have a template that you know is going to be your baseline, but you're allowing for flexibility within that template and structure to go ahead, sound like Star Trek, go boldly where no man or woman has gone before. So shouts to the Trekkies out there.
Oh, I'm a Trek. Live long and prosper? There you go.
Yeah.
Dude, I grew up on Star Trek. I loved it. And I actually encourage, like, if you could see right behind me, it's not or right in front of me, it's not Star Trek, but it's actually Starship, Elon Musk and SpaceX's Starship, because the innovative mind that would approach outer space, right, in a way that says, yeah, we want to boldly go where no one's go before, like, that takes courage, because when you get there, you can't expect that the status quo that you're used to exists, and you have to be willing to try new configurations and new ideas. So yeah, I'm a Trekkie, bro, just so you know.
Hey, well,
all seasons.
Well, that's allowed you to once again continue to go and do creative things. So as we get ready to wind down, you've got so many creative pieces within the larger model, and you kind of already answered it, but where do you go from here?
Yes, believe it or not, I think it's innovation, or excuse me, we're actually going back to more discipline now, right? So the lily pad I just jumped off of was a heavy time of brand and marketing, right? To for example, to roll out a package that is a hip. So one cool thing is a concept that we created. It's called the digital cultural product. And so if you are familiar with the consumer packaged goods industry, CPG, so we take CPG products and we add digital content to those. But then when you put that type of a package together, it's not as simple as throwing a QR code on the label. It's, did you create the product with the intentionality that says this product, so like my Ethiopian drip bag is a green bag with Harriet Tubman on the front, but it's actually an album in and of itself, right? We just spent a lot of time in that brand development phase. So I just onboarded a chief sales officer. We're approaching mass retail, so Whole Foods, Kroger, Erewhon's, which is a regional chain in California, and that bag is on mass retail shelves as we speak, right? So it actually takes discipline to roll that out and to work with food and beverage distributors to, the consumer packaged goods industry is very traditional, right? It's very old school. They're still doing business today the same way it was being done in the 1920s. And so we're kind of leaving a brief moment of creativity while hopping into a moment of great discipline. But at the same time, what I have cooking on the back burner is another project, right? Which is actually from a signed artist. He works with, he signed to Shady Records, Interscope Records. His name is Grip. He released an album in 2020 called I Died for This, right? And it's his own personal story of the sacrifices he's made for hip hop. Well, we turned it into I Died for This coffee, which is a really good coffee that's maybe worth dying for. And so that's the opposite, if you will, maybe the inverse of my hip hop and coffee approach. And so I'm constantly hedging myself with cooking up the thing that I know is next in the background, while simultaneously, and this is the walking and chewing bubble gum, right? While simultaneously executing on what I've already done with great discipline. So I think that's the key, being able to activate left and right side of our brain simultaneously.
Well, I tell you what, it has been an engrossing, engaging, informative, and very powerful conversation. So before we go, let us know the best ways for people to stay connected and engaged, and close out with any words of wisdom, insight that you feel that people can take with them. They can slide it in their inside jacket pocket, or keep it in the memory banks, or put it in the notes feature on their cell phones. So go ahead, please.
Absolutely. So on all platforms, all social media, Real Dope Coffee is how you can follow us. So that's Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Real Dope Coffee. Our website is just www.realdope.coffee. So that's the best way to find us. That's the best way to shop with us. Parting words. These are words that I take very dear to myself. So often, especially if you're coming from the creative side, or even if you're more disciplined, here's what you need to hear. Whatever you're thinking about doing, do it now. There is no reason to continue to wait, to refine your idea, to make it a little clearer, to convince someone a little bit better. Because what we have to realize is that time passes. And whatever you don't do today cannot be your foundation for the future. So start now. Doesn't matter, right? Like what you have, your confidence will grow as you do things. So for myself, this so April 6th, I'm doing my first live show in this facility. And I actually punted on my first few shows I was supposed to do. And I'm angry at myself, because if I would have done the first shows, even though everything wasn't ready to go, I could build upon that foundation. So do it now, start today. Just don't wait. You're not benefiting yourself. You will not get the idea any clearer. No one's going to believe in you more 3 years from now because you didn't do it today, right? So start now.
Well, I tell you what, thank you. Thank you so much for being open with sharing and exchanging. This is where you are, and this is where you're going. So as a reminder, ladies and gentlemen, to catch this, you can catch the full article, acenortonccs.com. Click on the menu for articles and coverage, or if you want to do acenortonccs.com/blog, you can catch it. For the video chat, it'll be embedded in our article, but you may also go to our YouTube at Creative Community Solutions LLC. Make sure to add us at Creative Community Solutions LLC on Facebook, Ace Norton CCS on Instagram and Twitter. And on that note, we wish you, Mike, you and your team, a great day, week, and season. And to all of our readers, viewers, things along those lines, have a very good day, week, and beyond. We'll look forward to catching up with you real soon. Make sure to visit Dope Coffee on the web at www.realdope.coffee, and make sure to add them at Real Dope Coffee on your favorite social media platforms. Don't forget to check us out at acenortonccs.com/blog for this and other great articles on great people doing great things. Take very good care and look forward to seeing you real soon.